Welcome back to Channel 1. It's your boys. Holding it down here. We are back and better than ever. We took a little bit of a hiatus, and by hiatus I mean a couple days, because your boy's been busy. Your boy's got 2 jobs, and sometimes I don't really have these little pockets and moments to record a couple of videos throughout the week. Either way, we are back, and we're talking about the most dangerous word on the planet, and that is indeed the O word, that is. And by O word, I mean the Olympics. That's right. You know what? I'm feeling bold. I'm feeling spicy. How about that, Olympics committee? I said it. And you're going to have to deal with it, all right? And it's the last time I say it because I will not get sued. The Winter Games 2026, it's over. I could not tell you who won the amount of medals. I couldn't tell you how many golds were won, how many silvers were won. What I do know is that people were very amped up about the hockey action. Let's talk about that. And by talk about it, I mean brush it to a side because I could not care less about something than the Winter Olympics hockey. To each their own. I'm not here to yuck your yum, but there was one story that kind of had me thinking throughout the entire times because sometimes people get riled up about dumb things. Who would have thought? But a common discussion point was indeed about one athlete, Eileen, who won multiple medals in this year's Olympics. Shout out to her. Congratulations. But there was a pocket of human beings, by human beings, I mean Americans in this country that are pissed at this lady. So for those who don't know, she was an American-born citizen. She was born in California, went to school, I believe, at Stanford, and spent a lot of her time in the U.S. as well as summer times in China. And then she chose for herself and for what is best for her to compete for China. That obviously a lot of people were pissed off about this. I mean, I have never seen so many people come out and be like, you know what? This is our final. She should never be allowed back in this country. How dare you represent China? I don't know what that accident was, but either way, they were pissed and they were putting think pieces out there. Podcasts were going crazy. People were taking political stances on the Olympics. Who would have thought? But it was like this weird energy and it was so aggressive towards her. And obviously she's kind of dealt with a lot of interactions like that. I think at one point she got a stalker and she's only 22, mind you. So she's kind of had to deal with the shit show of a bunch of randomness and a bunch of chaos because of the country she chose to represent at the Olympic Games. Now, mind you, when you talk about the Olympic Games, the key word is the second part. These are games, everybody. These are events. These are, at the end of the day, it's a bunch of people competing for fun and obviously for Olympic pride and for country representation, but it ain't that serious. We're talking about skiing. There's a sport where people got broomsticks and they're brooming a giant stone, and we're taking this seriously. We're threatening this lady over skiing? This is where we got to get all aggressive about. Of everything going on in the world, we choose the skier, the 22-year-old skier from California that at the end of the day, hey, listen, I'm going to read her statement on why, her reflections from the Olympic Games and everything like that. But at the end of the day, if it was purely like a money-motivated thing, get the bag. You know, it's 2026, rent's crazy, nowhere's affordable. And if you are talented enough to find yourself being funded by a country as well as going out and getting yourself endorsement deals, then do it. I think that's great because everyone's just trying to make a living, okay? So obviously, that's the kind of the background information when it comes to Eileen Gu. Now, here's a statement that I believe she did Monday, so if I'm doing my calculations right, March 2nd, which was yesterday, a lot of math there. This is a recent article, and the curious thing, too, is when people were making articles about what she had said on Instagram, right? So it wasn't like a verbal thing or anything like that. It was just like typing out reflections of how the Olympics went. What a time it was, right? What a fun little topic and discussion, watching period for everybody to just sit down, watch some events they'll never watch again for another 4 years, or maybe at the X Games. Shout out to the X Games. I like the X Games. So you have that going on, and she chose some time to reflect it, right? So the curious thing to me when I saw like a bunch of headlines saying, Eileen Gu owns this person, and Eileen Gu is affirmative in her stance about being pro-China. I'm like, did she actually say that? So, of course, I have to go ahead and do some research. Not the case at all. I don't think she made some any crazy political stance with the statement that she said on Instagram or the captions below. Nothing groundbreaking was said. And the entire time, like, I went through 12 different articles thinking, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't know how to read. Reading's hard. And it just never came up. So I'm going to read the statement, and I will not do an accent because I'm not sure how. Can I go California? Sup, dude? Okay, we're just going to read it because I don't really know how to go super California because I feel like they just talk normal, right? What is wrong with me? Either way, so here's the quote from our girl, your boy, your girl, your boy, your girl, your boy. Anyways, at the time, I had spent one season on the U.S. team and had been lucky enough to meet my heroes in person. I am forever grateful for that season and continue to maintain a close relationship with the team. I had spent every summer in China since I was 8, setting up summer camps on a trampoline and dry slope for kids and adults ranging from 7 to 47, so I knew the industry was tiny. I felt like I knew everyone. Skiing for Team China meant the opportunity to uplift others to the universal culture of sport and to introduce free skiing to hundreds of millions of people who had never heard of it. Especially with the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics around the corner. I can look back now at 22 and tell 12-year-old Eileen that there are now terrain parks full of little girls who will never doubt their place in the sport. I can tell 15-year-old me that now there are millions of girls who have started skiing since then in China and worldwide. Dale. A lot of people won't understand or believe that she did not say Dale. Believe that I made a decision to create the greatest amount of positive impact on the world stage that I could at this age. Given my interests and passions, 3 golds and 6 medals later, with a broken freaking neck, she did not break a neck. Shout out to Kurt Angle. I can confidently say that was once a dream is now a reality. What a great statement. Now, I didn't see so many political turmoil within that statement. I feel like, you take her at her word, because I don't think sometimes it's curious to me because so many people have so many interesting things to say about this, right? Like, oh, she's a liar. Oh, she was clearly funded by China. It's like, sometimes if you don't know somebody, you just got to take them for their word, okay? I think that's a cool statement. I think that's awesome. She chose to represent something that meant something to her. Now, whether or not that's 100% accurate, who cares? That's the statement. Go along with it. You don't have to do a deep dive and analysis on every single thing just because internally you already had your implications that you want to disagree with this. You wanted her to be like, you know what? I chose China because they bought me. Like, what? I don't understand the people that feel the need to find what they want to find. And it's kind of the issue, I think, sometimes as well with modern day journalism or any type of news industry, is that a lot of questions or narratives are being set before any question is actually being asked or any statement is actually being said. So people already had this formulated opinion about Eileen Gu, about why she chose China, about all these other things, and no one really even bothered to get her opinion about it, which is fascinating. But so they already had these preconceived notions. She says, everybody, you know what? This is a nice, beautiful thing, and I've been having it in my head for quite some time, and it feels good to see people, and especially young women, older women, all kinds of people skiing more because maybe they looked at me and said, you know what? I can do that. That's pretty cool. And once again, what are we hating on this for? Like, you do not watch skiing at any other point in your life. You watch skiing every 4 years. It's going to be on some type of weird time zone because typically the Olympics are on different areas of the world when you're watching in the United States. So maybe you're watching in the morning. Maybe you're watching at night. Maybe it's a random afternoon event. Nonetheless, it's not that serious. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a great time. This is the one time everybody comes together and you'd think everyone would be like, oh, isn't that cool? Isn't that awesome? And instead, you have a bunch of jackasses that can't stand anything that isn't American because that's where they draw the line. Everything sucks unless it's American. It's okay for other people to represent other countries, and you should be able to support other countries. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. And at the end of the day, the Olympics are the Olympic Games. 2026, 2030, 1998, 1990. I don't know if there are Olympics in 98 or 90, but nonetheless, you get the point. It's supposed to be fun. Now, one more thing before we close this thing is that a lot of people have been very extreme about their opinions of how much money that Eileen Gu made. Now, there's a bunch of articles, and I think it's weird, one, to be pocket watching anybody, but nonetheless, it is a topic point because people were like angry and pissed that she made so much money, which is curious to me because I feel like nobody has an issue with like Patrick Mahomes making hundreds of millions of dollars because that's okay because he's American and he plays football. But if she's a woman and represents China, that's where we draw the line. We don't want that in this country. We are different, all right? We don't want... Okay, that's enough of that. But it is fascinating to me that is their weird line in the sand. There's so many circumstances that athletes have to benefit for certain people where it's okay to make millions and millions of dollars. But as soon as you start to sway from what they want you to be, that's where they draw the line. And that's when they have issues with you as a human being, with the amount of money you make, all the financial decisions you make, all the statements you make. They're always going to find a way to hate you because they don't already fit what you want them to be. And I think that's the frustrating part, maybe just about society in general, right? So anytime I see somebody who works hard, seems like a good person, that puts in the effort, and that can be inspiring to not only Americans, but just people. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what invisible borders you might be a fan of or against, right? At the end of the day, none of those borders are actually real. They're all man-made. This is society, and society, we are all humans first before anything else. So why don't we just take some time and appreciate each other? I think that's pretty cool. Either way, that's my final thoughts, and we will never talk about the Olympics. That's what I said. For another 4 years. Thank you guys for watching. Goodbye. And go China. Hey, I've actually been brought to you and sponsored by China. No, listen, man. Olympic Games. Enjoy it. Have fun. Watch it. We'll see you in 4 years.
Show me your best LeBron.
Oh, you know, LeBron silencer?
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.